Shui, love it.
Bit of meditation. I don't even know. Is that all right? Are we in it all right?
Yeah.
Alex Guevel, welcome back to October Red. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Very, very well. Lovely to be back.
Hold on, let me just that's fine. Campaigning, I've got to go straight into it. I was looking at your social media, guys. Follow Alex Guevel on Instagram. He's recently been to Parliament, a true pioneer for the sport that wants boxing. It's almost like you want to take it into the curriculum. But enough of me. Talk to us about your visit to the Houses of Parliament this week.
It was amazing to have that platform. So basically what we did, we attended the all-party parliamentary group for boxing. So essentially what that is a group of MPs from all the different political parties who all have a common interest in grassroots boxing. So for me, it was very much very easy, captive audience, because you're kind of preaching to the converted. It's all people that get it. We all have the same kind of vision, the same passion, but obviously we're coming at it from a slightly different perspective at Matchroom, and we can kind of amplify and just generate a little bit more kind of interest sometimes than maybe some of the other stakeholders can. So for us to be, involved in those conversations, and I'll be honest, the end goal for me is hopefully we can begin to influence and really kind of shape the vision and for kind of future investment into grassroots boxing and change policy and really influence positive change in the sport. So yeah, to be there was fantastic.
How did it come about? Because you know what, I didn't realise that there'd be actually anybody in Parliament that would be interested in boxing. So how did that initial conversation start up to get the meeting arranged?
So it's a group that I've been aware of for quite some time. There's been a lot of kind of published research that those guys have kind of put out in the past. So in my previous role with England Boxing, I was very aware of the group. But the way it came about is actually they contacted, it actually came through to Frank, who, to see if we're interested in being a part of the group. Frank forwarded the email on to me and said, obviously he was away this week, and said, well, the person to be talking to is our head of community development, Alex. So connected me with Murray, who chairs the group and always the secretary for the group, should I say. And myself and Matty Lawless went down and did our thing.
How did the conversation go? Obviously, I wasn't there, I wasn't privy to it. So how did the conversation actually go? And we look at, obviously, the positives that have come from it and the learning that's come from it. A meeting always goes two ways, doesn't it?
Massively. So I actually presented on the evening. So there's a few different people that presented. There was England Boxing. There was a lady called Deborah Jump who's done some sort of research into the societal effects of boxing, a lot of kind of like the criminology perspective. And obviously I was presenting what we've done, what basically Matchroom in the community is, and also what we're looking to do. So I presented. You're probably aware actually when we came to Acox Green, we do a post-event survey. So we're collecting data from all the participants in our events, and from that, England Boxing did some great research a few years ago that kind of it basically showed that 40% of boxing clubs sit within the top 20% of the most deprived communities in the UK. What I'm looking to do is build upon that and kind of complement the work that those guys are doing and other researchers to show that, yes, boxing clubs sit within those deprived communities, but also we can prove that the people attending those clubs are also deprived themselves, purely off the back of a postcode. So I've got a friend of mine, Kyle Genner, who's a researcher at Teesside University. He's supporting me with that work. We're gathering all this data, and I presented the kind of the preliminary bits that we found so far, which the more that we do, the more visits we do, and the more people we visit, the more gyms, the more locations, the clearer that picture will become. So that's what we were doing.
How did they receive that information? I know you said it was like preaching to the converted because they're on boards, they're from different parties, political parties, but they all came together for that one cause. In a world where collaboration is now starting to be key and people are starting to work together, how was that received?
Overwhelmingly positively, and I think, to be honest with you, the fact that Matchroom were in the room was something that was great. It was something that was picked up on by the group, with the first promoter to be a part of this group. So and this is something, this is the first meeting of many. We're now looking at things like roundtable discussions in Parliament involving Eddie and some of those things, and Frank and all of this. It may well be that we'll connect some of our fighters with this. You know that I've done loads of work with Sonny at some of the events, so I think Sonny Edwards is someone that speaks really, really well about boxing. So I may be looking to get Sonny involved with. That's not to say there's so many of our fighters that have incredible backstories, really understand the sport and can help us with this lobbying, because, as I say, the end goal is to influence policy and decision making at the very, very highest levels. And because of who we are at Matchroom, we have such a unique kind of opportunities to be able to really amplify that message.
So you've got to quite an important stage of what you could possibly say is negotiations. What are you hoping that the Houses of Parliament can do? What are you hoping that they take from these meetings and that they actually give back to, the communities for boxing?
In its simplest sense, more investment into grassroots sport. So, if we can present the many benefits of boxing and we can kind of, whether it's content based, whether it's project based, whether all these different things that we can do, we're obviously going to invest ourselves too. But if we can influence government to actually, give more money to grassroots via Sport England, then going into England Boxing and all these kind of the people that were there in the room. If we can do that, then that is real legacy. That's genuinely changing the game, and that's what I've been brought in to do. So, and we will get there.
It's nice to see, because I can't even remember where it was. Whether it was, I think it was Nottingham. All that time when when you first started and you had this vision, and then you've gone around the community. It's literally like everything you said that you wanted to do, you're starting to achieve it, and you're doing even more than that. Yeah. I know you're doing this because it's selfless. But the gratification that you must receive, because you think, actually, people are listening, people are starting to see my goals, my ideas, and now things are going into place.
100%. And, starting an organisation like Matchroom, it's daunting, it's challenging. It's a blank canvas. I think I probably said to you when we first met, it's the most exciting part of my role because it's brand new and it's a blank canvas, but it's also daunting. I've got to try. I was talking to a friend of mine, it's almost like beginning a startup within Matchroom. Starting your own little organisation, your own little business, and that's kind of what it is. So, we've done a lot of learning. We've tried a lot of different kind of things over the first few months, and we're really beginning to build. And now we're beginning to see it's all about that impact. It's all about that high impact kind of work. And speaking and having the right conversations with the highest level of the UK in terms of the government and these kind of stakeholders. That is where we'll begin to really make a difference. So we're getting there, and it's dead exciting.
The conversations have been had when it looks at timescales, turnarounds. You've saved a gym that was closed down, the Lynn gym.
Yeah.
Obviously, the full refurb. We've seen that. You've visited gyms all around the country. So when you have these meetings, this is now government level. This is where there could be possible funding. Is there timescales that you're trying to work to? Have you set yourself like targets, and are there specific areas that you're going to target first? I mean, from the research that you friended at university, which would you say are the most, as you put it, the deprived areas, the low income areas that can really benefit from getting their kids off the street and into the gyms?
So what we can actually find from the data we're collecting, we can literally break it down into so let's say Birmingham, where you're from. We could look at, so far we've been to one gym, Acox Green. Every time we go back to Birmingham, or if we do other projects in Birmingham, we're going to collect more data that presents a more kind of across the board representation of the city, not just that club. So we could go to, Acox Green, we could go to other areas of the city, and the more people we visit, the better picture we're going to find out for Birmingham. We can break that down by, age, ethnicity, gender, all these different things. So, let's say we were looking at doing like a knife crime initiative or something like that. We could find from, let's say we've been to then, in a few years' time, we've been to 10 gyms in Birmingham. We could find, based on the data we've collected, which of those areas would be the best and the most high impact to go to, because based on that, the kids that are in those areas or the people that we've worked with are from the area that's worst affected by crime. So we can literally be guided by the data to lead us to the right places, and that's where we need to get to. The success of this will truly be in a few years' time when we've collected enough data that it's representative of those areas that we've been to. But we're continuing to do loads of great work. We're actually in the process as well of putting like an overarching strategy together. So as I say, we've done a lot of kind of testing the waters, trying new things out. But myself, Frank, Ross, Scott, and a lot of the kind of key stakeholders internally at Matchroom, we're all meeting up next week to begin this kind of consultancy work we're doing to build this kind of our actually in the community strategy as well. So that's again really exciting. That's going to guide everything we do.
I know it's going to take time, and like you said, this is a process, because obviously data gathering, etc. It's a new business. Yeah. When you look at obviously putting packages together, or going back with the results, have you got like potential kids from the gyms, that they're all right to do like testimonies, because there's going to be. Boxing is very important to our community, and you hear it from the professional fighters. I could have gone this way, I could have gone that way, but I chose boxing, and boxing saved my life. With the grassroots that you're really interested in, is it possible that moving forward we could start to maybe follow a certain amateur or somebody that came in off the street and get their testimonies over time, so we can have that package to show, to say, look at this. This is an example of what boxing does.
Absolutely. So obviously the quantitative data we're collecting is only one part of it. That kind of qualitative, those kind of anecdotal bits and pieces are even more kind of, they're the ones that pull at the heartstrings.
Absolutely.
And they have equal impact when sort of paired with the quantitative stuff we're collecting. So 100%. I mean, to be fair, of the three things that I presented, as well as the data, what I actually presented to the APPG was some of the work that we did with the LIN in terms of saving the club. So that, I guess, it sort of showcases the impact we can have on clubs, and we can genuinely save clubs. The second part was some work with street games that we did. So I don't know if you'd have seen, we offered an opportunity to a young person called TJ McKee around our Newcastle event. So basically, TJ is a street games young advisor, 17 years old. He's based in the northeast, and he does. He was doing a lot of work on a youth panel in Newcastle City Council, and Street Games put him in touch with us and kind of said, look, you're coming to Newcastle, would you be able to offer this young person a bit of a work experience opportunity? So we put this together.
Oh, yes, I remember.
Yeah.
Yes.
So and
work experience, yeah.
He came to us on the first day and blew us all away. And the kid was incredible. He wants to be like a presenter, do a bit of videography and editing, all this kind of stuff. He came to us on the first day, blew us away, and I was like, do you know what, mate? I'm going to give you the opportunity to actually host in the community piece, which was at East Durham ABC, and it was at a club show. So TJ presented this, and he did loads of stuff as like a media chaperone. He did research for the podcast. He's come away with a kind of a filmed piece of work by Matchroom and all this kind of experience to then put on his CV. And since then, he's really kind of like, you can. I've been following him on social media, and I see the work he's doing within the kind of the northeast, the northeast boxing promotions. He does all that kind of stuff for Joe's boxing promotions, and the level of his work has just increased tenfold since. So you can see it, you can see what's happening. And so we did that, and I also presented on Belfast to kind of I guess illustrate the community cohesion, how boxing breaks down barriers, physical and sectarian, in a city like that. So the power of boxing is incredible, and we can showcase it in so many different ways all across the world, not just in the UK.
But those of you that don't know, Alex is a key part of Shoebox Boxing Club, and you were out on the weekend, obviously using Birmingham. How was that experience for you? Because you're not only somebody that would say does the theoretical side of it, you're actually involved in boxing itself. Yes, you're part of Matchroom, but that is your gym. So how does that fare when you see, fighters coming out of your gym and the possibilities, the paydays, the experience for the fighters, and then you can bring that back into obviously what you're doing. It goes hand in hand. It's like it helps, it fuels it.
It's vital for me to, not only because I love the club and a load of my friends are there, so it's great to stay connected, but it's vital for me to still be a part of the amateurs and very much, being part of a club, it means I understand it, it means I get it. I said this in Parliament the other day, the fact that I've come from England Boxing and I was a part of the research that they presented on the night, it just shows I'm now at Matchroom and I get it, I understand it. So I'm in a position where we can really make a difference, and being part of the amateur boxing club at Team Shoebox, and obviously helping the pros, the guys that have come through, your Kierans, your Ethans, your Ben Vaughns, these kind of guys that are now progressing to high levels within the pro ranks. I understand the journeys. I've been there. I've been on those journeys with them. So the fact I've been there, it can only help me in what I'm doing here at Matchroom. So.
And what a positive note to end on, guys. You really need to get behind this guy. If you've got, in fact, Birmingham, you said, we've got Eastside Gym, we've got BCB Gym, we've got Anchor Gym in West Bromwich. And I'm just trying to think, if I haven't named any other Birmingham gyms, please put them in the comments. If your gym needs advice on how to get funding, any support like that, verbal support. I'm not saying that Matchroom's going to start writing checks, because they can't, but any help and advice in regards to gyms, get in contact with young Alex, and thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure, always.
People say I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.